If you're thinking about getting into the real estate market, this video is going to show you exactly what's happening right here locally. Not what the headlines are saying about Toronto or Vancouver, but what's happening right here in Hamilton, Ontario. And that matters because national headlines can be misleading. Real estate is always local. So let's talk about Hamilton. The biggest thing you need to know right now is that home prices in Hamilton have come down significantly. We're sitting roughly at late 2020 to early 2021 price levels. And the biggest question I get from people thinking about buying in this market is simple. Are prices at the bottom, or are they going to fall further from here? And the real question behind that is whether now is the right time to buy or if you should wait. So let's break down what actually is happening so you can make a smart, informed decision. If we zoom in on what's happening this year alone, the numbers tell a clear story. Hamilton home prices are down roughly 8 to 10% year to date. Prices haven't crashed, but they're just sliding slowly and consistently throughout the year. When we zoom out and look at the bigger picture, some important things stand out. This correction has essentially erased the rapid run-up we saw during the pandemic and brought prices back to pre-boom levels. And here's why that matters. If you bought a home before 2020, you're still sitting on roughly 20 to 30% equity growth compared to pre-pandemic pricing. But if you bought between 2020 and early 2022, the last few years have felt like a roller coaster. Before the pandemic, the Hamilton market was growing steadily, predictably, and in a much more sustainable way. Now, if we focus on the most recent period, something interesting starts to show up. Despite prices bouncing around, the average Hamilton home price has been hovering in a relatively tight range, right around the mid-700,000s. You'll see short bursts of optimism where prices tick up, followed by caution that pulls them back down. And that tells us one thing. The market is waiting for a bigger economic shift. To understand what could move prices from here, we need to look at supply, demand, and affordability. And affordability is the big one. Mortgage rates play a massive role in this market. When rates go up, monthly payments increase and buyers qualify for less home. When rates come down, affordability improves and demands follow. Right now, mortgage rates are significantly lower than what they were at their peak. Most strong borrowers in Hamilton are qualified for fixed or variable rates in the mid 3 to 4% range, which is a huge improvement from where we were not too long ago. The Bank of Canada has already made multiple rate cuts, but they've also been very clear that they're going to move cautiously from here. If you read between the lines, it suggests that rates are likely near the bottom for the foreseeable future. In other words, we're probably not waiting for some massive drop in rates from this point on. Now, let's talk about local demand, because this surprises a lot of people. After a slow and quiet stretch, sales actively in Hamilton picked up noticeably in the fall. We saw roughly a 20 to 25% increase in sales volume compared to the late summer months. That tells us buyers are starting to step back into the market. But here's the key detail. Even though sales increased, prices still softened, and that combination is very important. It tells me buyers are returning, but they're being cautious. They're shopping in lower price brackets, they're taking their time, and they're negotiating aggressively with motivated sellers. What this market really needs right now is buyer confidence. After several uncertain years, a lot of people are hesitant to buy while prices feel unstable. And honestly, that hesitation makes total sense. But historically, by the time the market feels safe again, demand has already increased and prices are already moving up. The best buying opportunities usually appear when confidence is low and sellers are the most motivated. And that's exactly the environment we're in right now. Here's what most buyers don't realize. Homes that stay on the market between December and February are usually owned by motivated sellers. Unmotivated sellers simply put their listings and wait for spring. So when a home is listed during the winter months, it often means the seller needs to move, they're open to negotiation, and they're willing to make concessions. Every single week, I'm seeing examples across Hamilton where homes that could have been sold for $50,000 to $150,000 more a couple years ago are now selling at meaningful discounts. Right now, buyers have leverage. So Should you wait until spring? That's the big question. Is this the bottom? And will prices be higher in the spring? The truth is, no one has a crystal ball, not even professional economists. But one thing is always true. Spring brings the most demand. From March through June, buyer competition increases, especially in April and May. More demand usually means more competition, more multiple offers, and upward pressure on prices. Spring feels safer emotionally, but it's often worse for buyers financially. Markets can turn very quickly once momentum builds. My honest take on the Hamilton market is, trying to perfectly time the bottom is impossible. Instead, the goal is to find a window that aligns with your life, your finances, and your long-term plans. If you're buying a quality home that you plan to live in for 5 years or more, today's market offers something we haven't seen in a long time: real negotiating power. Prices are softer, competition is lower, and sellers are more flexible. Yes, affordability is still tough. Prices and rates are higher than they were 5 years ago, but based on current trends, prices likely won't fall much further, and rates likely won't drop much more either. That means this window could represent the best affordability we've seen for a while. Now, if you need to sell a home, that does require strategy. You may not get the peak price we saw in 2021, but the upside is that the home you're buying is also a deal. The key is making sure your home sells properly and on time so you can take advantage of today's opportunities. That's a whole separate conversation, and I've made plenty of videos breaking that down. So here's the bottom line. If you're thinking about buying, selling, or upgrading in Hamilton, the most important step is understanding how this specific market affects your specific situation. That's where I come in. I can break this data down based on the exact neighborhood you want to buy in, the price range you're targeting, and the home you may need to sell. When you have a clear plan, confidence follows. Thanks for sticking with me through this video. If you found it helpful, all my contact info is on the screen and in the description below. Call or text me anytime, no pressure, no sales pitch, just honest answers, and I'll see you in the next video.